everybody. Welcome back, my horror fans. Welcome to Beyond the Scare. We back. I'm your host, Danny Royce, joined by the other host, my brother. What's good, Pauly?
What's up, everybody out there? We missed y'all. We are so happy to begin season 2. Let's go.
Yes, we are back. We are back. And there's a lot going on this year. 2026 is an incredible year for movies in general, but especially horror films. Welcome to Beyond the Scare. If you're just now joining us on this journey, welcome. If you've been following us since the beginning, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Beyond the Scare is a great podcast as we dive down deep behind the scares of some of our favorite classic horror films, the new releases as well. We dive into the upcoming releases as well. Everything, all things horror. Paul, how you feeling? Welcome back. Nice to see you.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Man, I'm excited. Honestly, like this is, especially this year, like you said, 2026. We got some great, exciting things going on. I mean, everyone knows what we're the most excited about which we'll get into in the coming weeks. But yeah, I mean, welcome back, everybody. I'm excited to dive into the world of horror.
Yes. And let's real quick, we're coming out of a great time because a couple weeks ago we just went to our first horror con, Creep Con in the IE, Ontario, California. And who did we meet, Paul?
Man, I mean, we met. I'm gonna start off. We met a lot of cool people.
Yes, we did.
We embraced, and they are horror family. They embraced us. It
Yeah.
was a great time. But I mean, we met CJ Graham, who obviously the folks know that played Jason Voorhees. And I don't want to say most importantly, we're going to say most importantly because we met the one, the only, the iconic Robert Englund.
Oh. Yes. Everybody, we were speechless. We were so giddy and happy to be in his presence. Everything he said, we just laughed and smiled. It was a mess. I had something I wanted to say, and this was crazy. It was crazy. I've met a lot of celebrities, and it was just something about Robert. I was just like, I don't.
It was ridiculous. I walked up to him, I just like touched him on the shoulder. I'm like, hi.
Yes. And this is the things, this is the stuff that we're going to do more this year. We're so excited. Thank you again for tuning in, y'all. And we're going to dive into our new release film, right, that we just saw. And that is The Strangers Chapter 3. Paul, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so The Strangers Chapter 3 was released last Friday, February 6th. It's basically the concluding chapter, right?
Right.
It's the final film in the new trilogy, because fans of the franchise know that, there were previous entries that had, I don't want to say nothing to do with this particular trilogy because obviously it's in the same world, but, this separate trilogy is kind of like a standalone, right? Mm-hmm. So it was directed by Rennie Harlan, right? And it starred our girl, Madeleine Petsch, who we inducted into Final Girl world.
Final Girl, yep.
We said, especially in the second entry, that her performance was superb. We felt that she gave us everything that she needed to give us, that Final Girl would in a particular. Yeah. So the plot continued with, Maya, Madeleine Petsch, who plays Maya. As we saw at the end of the second entry, Pinup Girl was killed by Maya. So that's basically where we'll get into this. It's not exactly where the film picked up, but current, where I guess you would say in real time, that's where the story picked up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, we're going to get into this a little bit, but I want to kind of talk about, Danny, like how you feel about, obviously there have been, even out of the horror genre, right? There are movies that have multiple entries, right?
Yeah.
To be continued, so to speak, right? As we know, we saw this, and there was a lot of criticism surrounding these films,
Right.
because they felt that it was too long, the story was unfinished, and there's a lot of criticism about it. How do you feel about what they did here when there were basically 3 acts of an entire movie?
Um yes, I had quite a few mixed feelings, right? Let's just say first and foremost, I enjoyed the movie for what it was.
Mm,
It was entertaining, uh, for the most part, highly, highly, highly predictable. But
definitely.
but I will say it was entertaining. Uh, and I feel like there wasn't a need for 3 films. I know how I see what they did dragging it out and that, but I did like a few things, right? So I liked how this whole theme of strangers, right, turns out to be different than what we expected throughout the first, 2 installments. Like we see these people, these 3, they're the strangers, but really and truly, everyone else coming into the town are the strangers. And so there's a couple of those themes in there that I like that they played with in this last installment: love, loss, revenge, and then just that beautiful ending that we'll talk about. But yeah, and there was just a lot of things that I was just like, why? Um, none of the actually maybe I would say most of the killing scenes didn't make sense. It's like they were just too dumb for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, why are you doing that? There was no sense of like that. Even with the car, when she crashed the car into the tree, like, and it's like moments like that, you just feel like it's just not realistic.
Mm.
There was a few of those in there.
I kind of agree with you. I feel that the if they did want to do a multiple entry for this film, they could have stopped at the second one.
Yeah.
I feel that a lot that occurred in the third one was just, I don't want to say pointless, but to an extent, it was pointless for me. Even the backstory, diving more into the stranger's story, I mean, it didn't really highlight much that needed to be highlighted. There were not any like revelations for me. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And then even what, excuse me, what Maya was going through the entire movie, I feel that like that could have been done in the second one, because I feel that she was, for the most part, in the second one, it was a huge chase scene, but she was also fighting back, right? I
Yeah.
know the third one, it was more so of her coming into this person that she, which was a huge part of the movie. She basically became void of any type of, human emotion, and she, was becoming more like the strangers were, right? And that says a lot to trauma. It says a lot to,
Hmm.
what people deal with going through what she went through. But I do think that the overall like point of the trilogy, I think I understood why they did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely get, what they were doing, and I get the vision. It could have been executed differently, a little more
Yeah.
effectively.
I also wanted to show this little snippet of an interview with Madeleine, because she was kind of talking about this very thing, um,
Mm,
whether there was a point to them being 3 movies, and whether she enjoyed doing it or not. So I think we should play that real quick.
yeah.
And I learned how to edit myself without judgment as an artist, but removing myself from that process was really cool. And I'm proud of, like, this is not a typical way to tell stories, to do an act one, an act two, and act three in theaters. And there was a lot of, feedback and pushback from audiences because none of the films felt finished when they watched them. And rightfully so, they were all to be continued. But I think it's fun to change things up and try something different. And that's why we make art. So I'm proud of a lot of things in this process.
Yeah. So as a as an artist, yes, I can definitely get that, understand that. For the most part, I mean, I felt like she brought a lot to the table, and especially going through what she went through, the trauma, all that stuff. And a lot of times with these type of films, depending on the story, right, they'll be filming the second one, third one, shortly after. It's kind of like what they did with, 28 years later. So, yeah, I can see the journey that she went on. It's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I feel that it's art, right? It's their way of storytelling. And I agree, just like you said, was 20 years later, the three entries, the third one is going to come out soon.
Mhm.
But I just feel, the only difference between those two films for me is like there is a lot more covered, at least so far. You know what I mean? Obviously, we'll see with the third entry where that takes us. But yeah, I liked it. Did I feel that it added anything like new for me at least? No.
Yeah, yeah. Not really. I mean, I can tell you the few scenes that actually stood out to me, which I want to talk about, the sister and was the brother-in-law and Marcus, I'm assuming,
Something.
undercover. I know someone that they hired as a hitman. No one knew anything. He just showed up with this big black guy. I was like, okay, you know.
They didn't do anything either. That's the thing. Like
That's the thing. And that's one of what I was talking about earlier, how like a lot of this stuff was just unrealistic sometimes. Like even when he went to drop his gun, if he was a trained professional, he would, there's a lot of things that just like
No, I agree. I was just saying the same thing. I was like, really? Did they like, because they like hyped it up so much, like, oh, there's about
right.
to potentially be a brawl. But I mean, Maya to beat his butt, beat him down more, the scarecrow down more than that black guy did. And he
Anybody like
you know?
like anybody. And then, another turning point was also like we got to see how Dollface joined the group, right? Because it's always been the two for so long, and then now we see like she escaped her own death basically by killing her. And I felt like we also saw this
That was
this whole
that was predictable for me too. I'm
yeah.
just like,
I'm like, obviously something's going down. You don't hear anything. It's just totally silent, right? But one thing that was interesting that they explored in this third installment was the respect for like murder, and like we gotten really into the heads of this is me grasping for the best things out of this movie, right? we we got into the heads of an actual serial killer, right? Which basically, the movie opened up with the definition of a serial killer. So we actually got deep into the head of like this was like sport for them, and also it was like a sign of respect. And even at the end with Maya, the scarecrow, he really respected her after after she killed the dollface. So it was like one of those things that was just like interesting to see. And I think those, were some of the things that stood out for me. But at the end of the day got to end, and it and we knew how the day ended with this movie. Like it was so predictable. And I think that's what ruined it for me a lot of the times.
Yeah, for me too. It's just I wouldn't say it completely ruined it for me, but just like, it definitely made me think that again, there could have only been two entries. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just wasn't adding anything significant for me. Besides, obviously we knew what the whole thing was going to be. Like you said at the beginning of the film, it talked about serial killers. By the end of the film, and in a lot of ways, Maya became a serial killer, right? And she accepted that role. So in that aspect, things were kind of cool because you could we see, like I said before, what someone going through this and the trauma and everything could take them to what path it could take them down, you know. And we saw Maya definitely kind of tethering with that whole thing, you know.
It was just a lot of predictability, you know, all the way from the sheriff being a dad to everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And even at the, you know, I did like at the end though, because you know, people that actually know about serial killers and stuff, they tend to, you know, take keepsakes from their victims.
mhm,
So when Maya took the scarecrow mask, that's what I, you know, basically was like, oh, so she's taking the keepsake because, you
yeah,
know, she's actually embracing that serial killer side of her now. Obviously, I mean, do I think she's going to go off and start killing people? No, but
no,
it definitely, you know, changed her mental state enough to have to embrace that for the entirety of the 3 films. You know what I mean? Well,
yeah.
not, but you know, up until the
Up
third film.
until then, and
Yeah.
it was that, and that, yeah. That's why I thought. That's why I said beautiful ending because it did end off nicely. Because it was all about the theme, and it was all about her really, really and truly changing her entire being. Because she lost everything. They
Mhm.
literally took everything from her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like that aspect. Would I have liked, you know, us not knowing that much about these 3 characters? That would have been a little creepier. You know, it would have been a little more scary. Um, you know, that like the first one, and like, you know, but we learned a lot about these characters, and like I don't care for them. You know what I mean? So they didn't make me feel like I should care for them.
No, I
Um,
that's something I completely agree with, because not only would it make it more mysterious and creepy, but just like the essence of, you know, the strangers and what they represent, um, it should have been that way. I feel like they didn't have a choice because
yeah,
they made 3 films, you know what I mean? And what are you gonna,
exactly.
you have to have some type of backstory, and that was their intent, right? But I feel that they could have definitely done without that, and it would have made for a better film. But and like I said, when I say there's a lot of things that makes me say there was no like real significance brought from the third film, but one of those things was the whole reasoning for you know, Scarecrow killing. And basically, you know, he was just a psycho. You know, he's basically, you know, he was just a killer, really. And then the fact that his dad, you know, covered for him all the years and stuff, it's just
All
like,
those years, all those years. I'm like, you're okay. Your dad's great. So the whole thing gave me, like, if it never gave you before, this one definitely gave me, you know, Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes, where you know, the sheriff's in on it and everyone's covering for this one. Even like some of the chase scenes and stuff like that, it was very reminiscent of that.
which
Um,
we talked about in the second one, right? We were like,
yeah.
you know, everyone kind of just like there ignoring what's going on,
Hmm.
implicitly being involved. Yeah, definitely.
The outsiders come in and they disappear, you know. And the sister and the brother-in-law, they didn't do anything. I mean, that trailer, he just firing off the gun. I'm like, oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah,
Like missing every shot.
I
I
did
mean,
think I thought that was a powerful part though, when Scarecrow, you know, brought her sister out in
oh
front of him,
yeah. And he knew
because
exactly what he was doing.
right, and like, but I that's why I think Madeleine Petsch is such a great actress, because like every single emotion was on her face. Like
Hmm.
she knew what was going to happen. She was scared about it, but she was also void. You saw that like
Yeah.
void in her face, like,
Uh-huh.
you know, preparing, like kind of like, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And
Man, I'm gonna get and I'm thinking up the way I'm gonna kill you right now. Like that's what it was.
right,
Because she was
right.
not gonna let him get away with
No, no,
that.
no, not at all. That's what was great about it. The entire time.
And I think he knew that too, because like even at the end, that's what I was saying. We really got into the minds of serial killers in this one, but even at the end when he smiled when she stabbed him, like he wanted it to happen. He knew it. Like, why else would he just let her live, give her the key or give her the car, you know, give her the knife, all this stuff, right? It was like literally setting up for his own demise. Um, that's all. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was
I
his
feel I feel that it was I mean, with a lot of serial killers, it was sport to him, and it was actually like I mean, so to speak, a turn on. You know what I mean? Like it
yeah.
turned on the fact that he knew that she would come for him, and then they would be in this like back and forth again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then whoever survives, survives.
Yeah. He was ready. He was ready to leave. Ready to leave. He was done. He was tired. Said, I've been killing since I was 10 years old. Okay. All
And,
right.
and then when she shot the sheriff, that was funny because he was just like, he didn't even, he was like, okay, it's fine, just do it.
He
Like,
knew he had to come in. He's like, I've been doing. My karma is right here in front of me. Like it's literally none of them had issue with dying. Apparently. Yeah, so this is the part where we're gonna go and back into the vault, look at some of our classics, right, and see what is comparable to the movie that we just watched, our new release. And for this one, Pauly, I want to just go back. Let's take it back to 2008, The Strangers. You know,
yeah,
the original, the
yeah,
OG.
the
Okay.
yeah, The Strangers were, like you said, released in 2008. Basically, same. This is where it started, right?
Yeah.
Home invasion, about a couple, Kristen and James, played by Liv Tyler, Scott Spedman, terrorized by three masked assailants, right? And
Hmm.
this particular movie, I mean, this is the best in the entire franchise, in my opinion. Um, Mysterious, suspenseful, a lot going on here. And then it was directed by Brian.
Brian Bertino.
Yeah, Bertino. There you go.
Yes, it was. Honestly, I loved Strangers. It was super creepy. I remember when I saw it the first time I saw it. And this, yeah, like you said, this started it all, and before they revamped it, but it was, actually inspired by a chilling childhood story of Brian's, when he was home alone with his sister, and with three strangers together, excuse me, knocked on the door asking for someone who didn't live there. And later to find out that these three people were casing homes in the neighborhood, we're getting ready to rob them. So, not as sinister, but Brian's mind took it there, and I was like, what if? You know what I mean? And that's the beauty with this art and filmmaking. You could literally live out some of these things, and some of these people are actually living out for real, right? But you can take something so small, maybe a child getting left at the store, or something so tiny, and then turn into this big conglomerate, thing. And we're still watching something about it, years later, well, almost 20 years later. So um which it's, you hear about these things, Polly, and it's creepy. It's creepy. And do you recall anything like similar to this when you were a kid, dealing with strangers?
Yeah, I mean, you may be too young to remember this, but you may remember it. Our sister definitely took care of us as our parents worked. So,
Yeah.
we would spend at least probably 6 to 7 hours alone in the house. And we definitely had some, instances where, people would come to the door and just like, we'd be scared. So we look out the window to see who it
Oh
is.
yeah.
And then when they turn towards us, we kind of run away. I mean, I mean, definitely when you're a kid, you're pretty much scared of anything like that.
Right.
That's probably what comes to mind.
Yeah, definitely. Jehovah Witness sometimes scared the hell out of me. I was like, oh my God, what is who is going on? But yeah, it's just, you hear about these stories, and they're the real life stories that go on, that, really just changes things for you. You know what I mean? And this was also inspired by some other true stories. One being the Ketty cabin murders that happened in 1981. And if y'all didn't hear about this, I would suggest please go check it out. It is such an interesting, intriguing story, because it's not too far from from The Strangers, literally.
Right.
It's an unsolved murder of four people in a California resort town. And it was also served as an inspiration that it involved multiple victims in a vacation style setting with no clear motives, and the killers were never caught. So they don't even know how many. It was like 2 to 3 killers, but they're not sure, and it's still unsolved to this day. 4 random people just having vacation, and we see that we saw many times when they would just sit outside the gas station, just oh, he looks, I like him, it's just so creepy and weird, what I mean. But yeah, that's one of our true stories that I wanted to share that definitely inspired this story that we see here.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about this in our previous episodes in regards to this movie, but I mean, it could happen, right? And that's what even makes it even more creepy. I mean, we already discussed it has happened.
Yeah.
But just looking at the inner workings of it and how it was portrayed in the films, it just makes it even more creepier.
Yes, most definitely. But as I said, at the end of the day, it was a very entertaining film, and we gotta just give it what it is. I appreciate it for what it was. That's all. I appreciate it for what it was.
Now is the time that we do our ratings.
Yes. All right, you gotta go first on this one.
What? All right, just because everything we already discussed, highly predictable. My favorite entry, I mean, the first one was really good, right? Because it was more aligned with the original 2008 version, which was phenomenal in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one to me was equally good because it had so many more elements of a slasher film, which we all know I enjoy. So just because of that alone, I'm going to give it a B-.
A B-. Okay.
B-. There it is.
All right. I appreciate that. Yeah. I would say honestly the same thing. I gotta go with the same thing. It's not where I want to give it a C. If there was something in between a B- and a C, I would give it a B double-, something like that. But it's not quite that C.
I feel like the only reason I wouldn't be able to give it like a C or below is because I feel like Madeline Pest, she just delivered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like she's great.
Did.
We've seen her outside the horror realm before, but I feel like she does good in the horror world.
I agree. But yes, so on that note, it has been insane. I'm so excited that we're back. We're back in action. Thank you so much for being with us, y'all. Those people that are joining us right now, newbies, welcome, horror lovers. This is gonna be a great season. We got a lot coming up. So yeah. I'm super excited.
Definitely, I'm excited too. It's gonna be a ride. Season 1 was a ride. We had a lot of good movies last year.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna keep the momentum going and just get it.
Yes, and we have a special episode for our next episode, episode 2. So that's our second scare-sode of this season, and it's going to be special because guess what? It's Friday the 13th.
Let's talk about how Friday the 13th is on a Friday and the Valentine's Day is on Saturday.
Man, I don't want to see no hard eyes out there. Okay. So if you and your boo thing fight, just walk away.
That's literally like Jason's wet dream, Valentine's Day right there.
Right. He's like, there's gonna be dates and sex and teenagers.
He's like, yes, I can't wait.
He's like sharpen up the machete.
He's got like 3 in the background, just like, I want this one today.
I'm telling you. I gotta get a Jason costume and just do that TikTok. That's all right.
And the last thing I do want to mention is we already talked about how we had the opportunity to go to CreepCon in Ontario, California. Phenomenal time. We met a lot of cool people, a lot of vendors there. And I got this gem right here.
Mm,
As you can see,
beauty.
Nancy Thompson. You can see here you got the phone in the movie when Freddy's tongue comes out, and then Freddy's claws over on the top there. It's basically the artist's spin on the original movie poster. So it's so soft here. I love it. Definitely wanted to showcase this. It was done by pineapple_prince1. You can find him on Instagram. And he does a lot of original artwork. So it's pretty cool. He does a lot of stuff in the horror realm, but also outside of horror realm too. So definitely check his stuff out.
Yes, good. That's what's up. Yeah, we had a great time at CreepCon. Met a lot of great vendors, a lot of great people. And I too walked away with a beautiful blanket sitting behind me. This thing right here is a gorgeous piece, great artwork done by Mischief Blankets. Mischief Blankets, and it's super soft and comfortable. Like it's so soft. You can find them at mischief_pins on Instagram or mischiefpins.com. And this right here, let me pull this over for you so you can get a real nice view. This is crazy though. You know what I mean? So it's got the nice, obviously, Mr. Michael Myers himself at the top, burning. Then it's got, this clown mask when he wore him when he was a kid. And then it's got him at the bottom here, chasing good old Laurie Strode. Like, always, that's what he do 24/7. So it's just really, really beautiful. And I love the artwork in here and how they pulled everything together. But definitely check them out. Check both of our artists out. Great stuff out there. Love horror. They do everything.
Yeah, I mean, there were actually some great pieces, especially just I know Danny and myself, we had trouble picking out which blanket we actually wanted. Too, right? Because they were just so phenomenal. But yeah, these were the winners.
Yes, they were, and we love to have them. We love to showcase them. And if you have a company or a business and you love supporting us, we love supporting you. So let us know. Reach out. Drop your name in the comments, and hopefully we can showcase some of your stuff.
Yep. Welcome back, Danny. We back, season 2. So excited. Got a lot of new movies coming. Got a lot to discuss, and
yes,
that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here. Danny, why don't you let everyone know where they can find you?
All right, you can find me everywhere at I am Danny Royce.
You guys can find me at Alpha Boy with an I1. Thank you so much, guys. It's always a good time.
Always stay creepy. We'll see you next Scare Zone.